Hey guys, it's Mr. Mini Painter here, and today we are painting the Night's Watch. The Night's Watch is an expansion to the Game of Thrones tabletop game by Night Models. I really love the amount of details that are put in these models. They are based on the characters of the series of the show by HBO, and they look amazing. These guys are, well, a lot of black. But to create some details, some differences in the black, I'm going to show you how I painted these guys. And first off, I'm going to add some different colors to differentiate the black later on. Trust the process. I really like how they turned out. And I started off with some Incubi Darkness to the chest, how do you call it, chest piece of these models. So yeah, just slap some Incubi Darkness on there. Don't be too precise because we're going to cover it in black later on. And with all your models, you should end up with something looking like this. Next, for the fur on the shoulders and the boots, I used Rhinox hide. This is going to create a darker black later on. We're going to cover it with some contrast paint. And this way you get some very nice subtle variations in black as seen in the show. Next I used Mechanicus Standard Gray on the lower armor and some Bugman's Glow for the face as a base coat. It's just a face, the hands are covered with gloves. We got our base colors almost ready now. The hair, I gave a base color of Steel Legion Drab for this model. There are a lot of different characters in this pack, so you can differentiate, make some variations on the hair colors. I'm not going into depth to how to paint all those different kinds of hair. I made some blonde ones, I made some dark-haired ones, some brown-haired, so choose whatever you prefer. Next, for the cloak, and only the bottom part of the cloak, I used Black Legion, which is a very nice contrast paint by Citadel. It's a very dark contrast paint with a good coverage, so the opacity is very, very little, and it creates a nice dark black look. And the cloak, I wanted to be the darkest part of the model. So yeah, completely cover it, make sure not to touch too much of the rest. And I also did the gloves with this same black. I used some dried bark on this particular model for the torch he's holding. And now comes the magic part. I'm using Black Templar over all the previously painted parts. So all the colored parts we did before, we're going to cover them with this Black Templar. And Black Templar has a higher opacity than the Black Legion. So this is shining through a little bit. So you can see the previously painted brown parts, the Incubi Darkness bluish parts underneath, which gives a subtle change in blackness when dried. So yeah, that's going to look very nice, trust me. So we're going to let that dry, and we're now going to highlight the face with Cadian Flesh Tone added to the Bugman's Glow. Create some first highlights, basically cover most parts of the face except the deeper recesses such as the eye sockets, the lower cheekbones, and the forehead, for example, for this guy, because he's wearing a hood, a cloak over his head, so you want some shading there. When we're done with this, we're going to paint in the eyes, which is always very difficult to do and to film, but I'm trying here. I used Palette Witch Flesh to get some nice small white details in there. There are different ways to paint the eyes. You can use a black rim around the eyes, or cover it with some Carboro Crimson if you want to add some extra shading or details. I try to be as precise as possible so that the eyes really keep standing out. You don't have to recover it with your previous flesh tones. So here you see me painting in the pupils, and this is always one of those hooray moves for when you finally succeed, right? Next, to create some highlights, I used Abaddon Black with Thunderhawk Blue, and I keep brightening it up with some Celestra Gray for some additional highlights if you want. You can go over this 2 times, maybe 3 if you want, to create some light effects, some highlights on your models. Don't give it too much because you want to keep the darker. Next, I used some Abaddon Black on the parts that I wanted to darken down, such as the pants or something like this. And after that, I painted the leather parts with Steel Legion Drab and Abaddon Black. I shaded the hair with some Agrex Earthshade and covered all the metal parts with Lead Belcher. The swords, some are holding an axe, but basically that's it. And there's some tip on the sword scabbards, which you can paint with Lead Belcher as well. Next, I used Hashit Copper for the top parts, the coppery looking parts of the sword, so the hilt and parts of the belt if you want. And I shaded it with some Agrex Earthshade. Next, I used Sycorax Bronze to give small highlight details to the sword, the coppery parts, make them shiny. And for the hair, I used some Baneblade Brown on the blonde models to give it a highlight. And you can do it again by adding some Palette Witch Flesh if you want. I wanted to brighten up the top part of the cloak a little bit by using some Celestra Gray and dry brushing it on there. Leave the bottom dark, but just the outside, the rims of the cloak, the parts where the light is showing on, and the Celestra Gray adds a nice bluish tint to this black, which accentuates the cold they're facing. The torch, for this particular model, I used Imperial Fist as a contrast paint and immediately followed it with some Iyanden Yellow, which is more orangey, and kind of blended them together, and that gives a nice fiery look. You can take it even further if you want by adding some reds or maybe some black if you want to create some smoke effects, but I liked it this way. The bottom I had painted white, sprayed it white before, and now I'm using some Skeletal Horde, which is a very nice brown earth tone when applied to this white. We're going to cover it with snow later on, but I wanted to have something to show beneath. Now for the OSL, I'm using Troll Slayer Orange on his arms, part of the glove, and the side of his face. Only the left side of his face is touched by the light, so make sure to stick to that part. I did the shoulder, a bit of the chest and back, all parts where the light would be showing, to create some nice light OSL effect. Afterwards, I did some Flesh Gets Yellow as a pure yellow to create some contrasts, differences in these highlights, where the light would be brightest, on his face as well. I really like this Valhallan Blizzard because it gives a instant, nice, wet, snowy look. And that's what you want with snow. There are different ways to create these snow effects if you want, but for me, I really like the effect on this one. And there we have them, the Night's Watch, Brothers of the Night's Watch. They look very nice. I'm very happy with the end result and with the colors we used underneath the black to get some different shades of black and give these minis some details that they deserve. So thank you so much for watching again, and I hope if you like this video that you consider subscribing to my channel to keep posted for more videos. Thank you so much for now, and see you. Bye bye.